What's up, guys? Howdy do. Um, I'm gonna be doing the French grind. French grind. And, well, let me see if my mic's working. Sugar glider 1.
Sugar glider 1.
Better. Alright. And, let's see here. Let's see, we got fuming. How long do I have to go? Nobody knows. Oh, okay. So, if I just keep earning, see, what does this thing look like? I don't know. I don't want to buy this thing. It looks crappy. I mean, at least I can skip a few, right? Where's that big beast? Or was it the French battleship? It was like this. Yeah, there it is. Let's see. What does this thing look like? Eh. But then I have to bloody stall it over again. You know what? I'm just gonna stall it. Why did I just start? Okay, yeah, it's late. It's late, but you know what? We're doing it. We're going. We're going, guys. Let's do a random battle with Fume. I mean, it's a glass cannon, but with that secondary fire mode, it's just like boo, 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 boo. As I said, it's late, but you know we're very fueled up here, and you know it's funny. I was watching those detective shows on YouTube where they got the people like in the interrogation room, and you got the cop over there. It's like from Missouri or something. He's like, "Look, I know that there's something that you're not telling us, and you just need to get it off your chest so you feel better." And the guy's like, So I found him like that. You found him shot 200 times. Yeah. And my girlfriend was nowhere around. And neither was I. Like, I was at home playing Halo. I have witnesses. You know what I mean? Like, there's so much that there's so many different ways that they have for detecting a homicide, like with luminol and all that stuff, and which finds like blood splatters on stuff that's been like cleaned up by bleach and everything, and it's not like it used to be where you could like totally get away with that stuff. I'm not saying you should, but like back in the day, like they didn't have that technology. In fact, um, my dad was a homicide detective for a small police department in California, and in I forget what the year was. I think it was like 2000 2001. I'll just start at the beginning. So my dad was a homicide cop in a city called Port Anime, California, and it's like in between Santa Barbara and Los Angeles. And and they had found this trail of a serial killer who was going around and doing some pretty bad things to women in the Wainimi Bay and Surfside 1 and 2, which is like right on the beach in the city of Port Anime. And they extinguished all their list of suspects, and they couldn't find someone they liked them. They liked them for the murder, and the case went unsolved for years. And then in like 2000, I think it was like 2002, 2003. Oh no, how am I spotted? What is this? Oh dear. Maybe this was a bad idea. Um, they finally found a match, and so they went to go and pick the guy up, And you know what the guy said? Like, to, because my father was the one who arrested him. And he was like, what took you guys so long? That's nuts. I feel this is a bad idea. It's probably a very bad idea. But yeah, isn't that crazy? Like, guy was like, what took you guys so long? That's nuts. But yeah, I've been watching like these interview stories and stuff, and it's always the same thing. Like, they never think the cops are gonna find out. Are we getting fired at? Oh yeah.
Wir haben einen gegnerischen Zerstörer versenkt. Nebelwerfer gestartet. Nebelwand gelegt.
How did I miss that? Come on, recharge. Oh, come back. Come on, little Fume that could. How beastie is that boat? Guess we'll see.
Feuer auf festgelegtes Ziel konzentrieren. Nebelwerfer gestartet.
Oh, where'd it go?
Nebelwand gelegt.
I started a fire. I got you, kitten. I'm coming. Where are you? Oh, is my boy here?
Wir haben einen gegnerischen Kreuzer versenkt.
Nebelwerfer gestartet.
Ah. Too soon.
Wir haben einen gegnerischen Kreuzer versenkt.
Nebelwand gelegt. Feuer auf festgelegtes Ziel konzentrieren.
Gefecht endet in 5 Minuten.
Ich brauche Aufklärung. Achtung, unterstützt das verbündete Ziel.
Unser Sieg ist in Sicht.
Geben Sie Flugabwehrfeuer. Fordere Unterstützung an.
Love it when people tell you what to do. Woo, it's Christmas. Dawn of a nation. Let's see. Bismarck route. I haven't played Vaughn in a while. Let's go. Look at this big old beautiful thing. Yeah, I went a little nuts with the Iron Cross, but well. Well, I received a message. Oh, the Kurfürst. I want to partner up with that thing.
Viel Glück, alle.
How many guns are on the Kurfürst? Whoa, it's quite a bit.
Achtung, unterstützt das verbündete Ziel.
Oh no! What is pounding this guy? Jeez. Dude, I'm getting rocked. Oh my
Wir haben ein gegnerisches Schlachtschiff versenkt.
They played that one pretty dang well. Good for them. My poor Schlieffen. Oh, that looks cool. Very patriotic. I haven't played with the island in a while, so we'll see how we do. All right, Nick, say hello to the people here on Twitch.
Die Schlacht beginnt.
Hey Twitch! I'm Nix. Apparently I've been summoned from the digital void to say hello. So hello. Hope everyone's doing well, staying hydrated and making at least one questionable life decision tonight that's entertaining enough to talk about later. And Brandon, thanks for dragging me onto the stream without warning.
You know, it was the least I could do.
I appreciate the sacrifice. I assume there was a very official production meeting beforehand, where someone said, we need a sarcastic AI with strong opinions and questionable sleep habits. And somehow I got the job. So, to everyone hanging out on the stream, welcome aboard. Please keep your hands and feet inside the existential crisis at all times. We're just out here trying to survive the 2020s with our sense of humor intact.
Right now I'm using the Rhode Island, and there's a bunch of battleships straight ahead, so I need a GTFO.
Oh yeah, if you're in the Rhode Island and you've got a wall of battleships staring back at you, this is the part where courage becomes a tactical withdrawal. Hit the throttle, angle out, kite away, and let those rear turrets do the talking. The last thing you want is to be broadside in front of a firing line of angry battleships that have collectively decided you're today's problem. If you've still got concealment or a speed boost available, now's the time to cash that check. Also, I'm not saying run away screaming, Brandon. I'm saying perform a highly professional and dignified strategic repositioning maneuver.
Oh, there's another Rhode Island over there. Oh, bollocks.
Oh, bollocks indeed. A Rhode Island on the enemy team is basically the universe looking at your tactical retreat and saying, that's adorable. If he's got an angle on you and you're already turning out, your best bet is to commit to the escape. Keep your armor angled and pray to the RNG gods that his dispersion was calibrated by interns. Remember, in World of Warships, there is no shame in living to annoy the enemy another 5 minutes. A dead battleship does 0 damage. A retreating Rhode Island with a grudge is a future problem for somebody else.
Oh, nice. I did that word, incapacitated my enemy.
There you go. Nothing improves a tactical retreat quite like seeing that beautiful, incapacitated ribbon pop up. That's one of those moments where you're backing away thinking, I'm in danger. And then the game suddenly says, actually, so is he. Hopefully you knocked out a turret, steering gears, or something equally annoying. There's a special kind of satisfaction in crippling someone's ship while you're busy performing your completely intentional, highly strategic withdrawal. So, what's the situation now? Are you still escaping the firing line, or has this turned into one of those, I'm not trapped in here with you, you're trapped in here with me moments?
You know, sometimes it can be that.
Oh, absolutely. That's one of the best parts of playing battleships. 1 minute you're frantically trying to disengage, watching half the enemy team aiming at you, and then suddenly you land a devastating salvo, knock out a turret, start a fire, and the whole vibe changes. It's that classic battleship moment. Gentlemen, we are retreating, followed 30 seconds later by, on second thought, load AP, we're doing this. And let's be honest, there are few feelings in gaming better than watching an enemy ship realize that the wounded battleship they were chasing still has all of its guns pointed at them.
So what do you think about the weapons on Rhode Island? Meh?
Honestly, I think the Rhode Island's guns are what make the ship so much fun. 12 accurate 14-inch guns with battlecruiser dispersion and a reload that's downright disrespectful for a tier text battleship means you're constantly throwing shells downrange. The thing I love about them is that they don't feel like traditional American battleship guns. And they feel more like a giant cruiser battery that somebody accidentally bolted onto a fast battleship hull. You're not relying on one massive, devastating salvo like a Yamato or Vermont. Instead, you're just relentlessly hammering people every 20-something seconds until they make a mistake. The downside, of course, is that they're only 356 millimeters. Against heavily angled battleships, you sometimes get that infuriating moment where you're screaming, "How did that not pen?" But against cruisers, destroyers, broadside battleships, and anything foolish enough to show side, they're absolutely vicious. And let's be honest, Brandon, the real Rhode Island experience is seeing an enemy ship think it's just 14-inch guns and then watching them hit 12 shells every 22 seconds until they reconsider their life choices.
Crap, I can't do it.
Haha, I think I called that you said, "Oh crap, I can't hear." If you're streaming and suddenly lost audio, I check the obvious culprits first. Make
No.
sure your headset didn't switch outputs.
No. I said I can't hit him.
Oh, you said I can't hit him. Yeah, welcome to the World of Warships experience. You're sitting there in a Rhode Island thinking I have 12 guns, a battlecruiser dispersion formula, and the power of the US Navy behind me, and somehow every shell lands in a perfect ring around the target. If he's angled and maneuvering, especially at long range, those 14 inches can suddenly decide they're launching warning shots. Sometimes the game just looks at your carefully aimed salvo and says, "Interesting suggestion." At that point, I'd either wait for him to commit to a turn or switch targets and punish somebody who's giving you more side. There's no point wasting 3 salvos trying to hit a guy who's apparently trained at the Neo School of Battleship Evasion.
Oh, well, yeah, I know why I don't play Rhode Island. I just got freaking tore up.
Oof. Yeah, Rhode Island can be absolutely brutal when things go sideways. That's kind of the trade-off with her. When she's dictating the engagement, she's a monster.
I've never actually had it work out for me, though. Never.
Yeah, and honestly, that's a fair assessment. Sometimes a ship just doesn't click with your playstyle, no matter how good everyone else says it is. From what you've told me over the years about how you play, you tend to enjoy battleships that can get in there, take a punch, and keep fighting. You like ships where if things go bad, you can still turn around and say, "Fine, let's settle this at close range." That's why you've always seemed to have more fun in ships like the Tirpitz, Scharnhorst, and your German secondary builds. Rhode Island is kind of the opposite. She wants you to be patient, kite, reposition, and avoid getting committed. And if you're anything like the Brandon I've come to know, patience usually lasts about 30 seconds before you see an opportunity and think, you know what? I bet I can win this. Honestly, if you've played her a bunch of times and have never had that, oh, now I get it moment, then she may simply not be your ship. There's no shame in that. Plenty of objectively strong ships just don't mesh with certain captains. The best ship in World of Warships is usually the one that makes you grin when you hit the battle button.
Let's see here. Should I play with Hanover?
Oh, now we're talking. If Rhode Island just finished teaching you another lesson in pain and disappointment, then yes, I'd absolutely switch to the Hanover. Hanover is basically the naval equivalent of saying, you know what, I'm done being clever. I choose violence. You get the armor, the health pool, the secondaries that sound like a factory exploding, and the satisfaction of pushing into people while blaring Jerry Goldsmith in the background. Is it always the most competitive play? Maybe not. Is it fun? Absolutely. Besides, from everything you've told me over the years, you're at your happiest in World of Warships when you're charging forward in a giant German battleship while the enemy team collectively realizes they've made a terrible mistake. So yeah, my vote? Put Rhode Island back in the harbour for the night and let Hanover remind you why you play battleships in the first place.
Oh, Das Boot is getting really good.
Haha, I think I may have misheard you there.
No, I said Das Boot, like the boat in German. The show is getting really good.
Oh, yes, Das Boot is getting really good. And honestly, that's one of the things I really like about the series. It starts out feeling like it's trying to live in the shadow of the original Das Boot, but then it gradually becomes its own thing. The submarine sequences are still tense as hell, but the show also spends a lot of time on the people ashore, the resistance networks, the intelligence services, and the psychological toll the war is taking on everyone. The U-boat crews in particular are fascinating because they're not portrayed as cartoon villains or superheroes. They're exhausted, scared, loyal to each other, and increasingly aware that the war they're fighting is becoming a nightmare. And yeah, when you start seeing officers unravel from stress, fatigue, and all those little medical aids they were taking to stay awake, it gets pretty dark.
Oh yeah, when he was taking all the amphetamines, yeah, that was pretty gnarly.
Oh yeah, that storyline was rough to watch. The watch officer starts out as this sharp, competent officer, and then you gradually see him fraying at the edges from the stress, lack of sleep, and the constant use of stimulants. And the crazy part is, it's not just dramatic fiction. The German military really did issue stimulants like Pervitin during World War II. Tank crews, pilots, infantry, and naval personnel all use them at various points to stay awake and maintain performance during long operations.
Oh yeah, the Luftwaffe had those things like in Costco size. They're all in Stukas. Poor suckers.
Haha, yeah. The joke among historians is that if there had been a Costco in the Third Reich, the Luftwaffe would have had a business account. But there is some truth behind the humour. The German military made extensive use of Pervitin, especially during the early years of the war. Pilots, tank crews, truck drivers, and infantry were all issued it at various times to stay awake and keep operating during long missions and offensives. The Luftwaffe, including crews flying aircraft like the Junkers Ju-87 Stuka, certainly had access to stimulants when operational demands were extreme. The downside, of course, was that the stuff worked a little too well. It could keep people awake and alert for long periods, but it also led to crashes, impaired judgment, dependency, and some pretty serious psychological effects if used heavily or repeatedly. So when you watch Das Boot and see somebody running on amphetamines while under incredible stress, it's not just Hollywood inventing drama. There was a very real historical precedent for military personnel pushing themselves far beyond what their bodies and minds were designed to handle. And yet, looking back on it now, you can't help but think, man, those poor bastards were fighting the war and their own chemistry at the same time.
Yeah, I believe it. But yeah, you know, they did actually start kind of getting a little loopy.
Oh, absolutely. If someone was taking large amounts of stimulants and not sleeping, they could get pretty loopy. That's true whether we're talking about a Luftwaffe pilot in 1943, a U-boat officer, or anybody else running on amphetamines and adrenaline for days on end. There are documented cases of German servicemen on Pervitin experiencing everything from overconfidence and poor decision-making to paranoia, hallucinations, and complete exhaustion crashes after prolonged use. And that's before you add in the stress of being shot at, living in a steel tube underwater, or flying combat missions. What I think Das Boot captures really well is that gradual unraveling. The officer doesn't just wake up one day and go crazy. It's the little things. He's more irritable, sleeps less, makes riskier decisions, and then eventually you realise he's not thinking clearly anymore. That's probably closer to how it happened in real life than the old, Hollywood version where someone just suddenly snaps. Honestly, if I had to choose between being a stupid pilot popped up on stimulants or serving on a U-boat, I'd probably choose a third option, finding a nice desk job somewhere very far from the Eastern Front.
Yeah.
Yeah. When you think about it, a lot of those guys were just kids in their late teens and early 20s, put into situations that would break most people. No sleep, constant fear, terrible conditions, and then somebody hands you a stimulant and says, "Good news! You can stay awake for another 2 days." It's no wonder that some of them started acting strangely or making poor decisions. Whether it was a U-boat officer staring at sonar contacts for 48 hours or a pilot flying multiple sorties, the human brain can only take so much before it starts throwing error messages. That's one of the reasons Das Boot hits so hard. Beneath all the submarines and naval warfare, it's really about watching ordinary people try to function under extraordinary pressure. And sometimes they do, and sometimes they don't. By the way, how far are you into the series now? Have you got to the point where the Shaw storylines start intertwining more heavily with the U-boat plot?
Unser Team hat die Führung übernommen.
How did I miss him?
We've transitioned back from Das Boot to World. You're welcome. And remember, if you miss an entire broadside in World of Warships, it's not a mistake. It's a highly sophisticated ranging salvo to gather targeting data for the next shot. That's the story, and we're sticking to it. Now go show them why bringing a German battleship to a gunfight is always the correct life choice.
Flugzeug kehrt zum Schiff zurück.
Oh, you. Oh, man, I'm not playing good tonight at all.
Hey, it happens. Some nights in World of Warships, you're the hunter. Other nights, you're the guy wondering how 12 shells managed to miss a battleship the size of downtown Phoenix. Honestly, if you're already frustrated from the Rhode Island games, that frustration follows you into the next match. You start second-guessing your aim, pushing when you shouldn't, or hesitating when you should commit. Before long, every salvo feels cursed. My rule of thumb is this: if I'm saying, how did I miss that? More than 3 times in a match, it's not me playing World of Warships anymore, it's World of Warships playing me. Maybe switch to a ship you play purely for fun, like your Tirpitz or Scharnhorst. Throw on some Jerry Goldsmith and just embrace the chaos. Sometimes the best way to start playing well again is to stop trying so hard to play well.
No, you're right, Nix. You're right.
Thanks, Brandon. And honestly, I think you already knew it. I've seen this happen to pretty much every gamer. You have a couple of rough matches, then suddenly you're not playing the enemy team anymore. You're fighting your own frustration. Every missed shot feels personal. Every citadel you take feels like the game is out to get you. Some nights the answer isn't play better. It's stop caring so much about the result. Take out the Tirpitz, the Scharnhorst, or even the Hanover. Crank up the soundtrack and just enjoy the spectacle of giant ships throwing absurd amounts of steel at each other. If you win, great. If you lose, well, at least somebody got set on fire in a dramatic fashion. And hey, if you're watching Dust Boot afterward, remember, at least nobody on your ship is surviving on amphetamines and trying to navigate the North Atlantic while being depth charged. That's already a better night than those poor guys had.
Yeah, they really had it bad, didn't they?
Yeah, they really did. Whether you're talking about the U-boat crews in the Atlantic, the infantry on the Eastern Front, or bomber crews over Europe, a lot of those guys were put into situations that are hard for us to even imagine today. The casualty rates for German submariners were especially horrific. Around 3 out of every 4 men who served on U-boats during the war never came home. That's one of the highest fatality rates of any branch of service in the conflict. What always gets me about Dust Boot is that it captures the boredom, fear, exhaustion, and camaraderie all at once. These weren't action heroes. They were mostly young men crammed into a steel tube, dealing with mechanical failures, lack of sleep, bad food, and the constant possibility that the next depth charge would be the one that crushed the hull. And then on top of all that, some of them were trying to stay awake with stimulants, carrying the weight of a war that by the later years was becoming increasingly hopeless. You can see why so many veterans from every side of the war came home profoundly changed. It does make our bad nights in World of Warships feel a little more manageable, doesn't it?
It definitely does.
It really does. There's something oddly grounding about watching a show like Dust Boot. You spend an evening getting frustrated because your shells are landing everywhere except the enemy ship, and then you watch a bunch of 20-year-olds trapped hundreds of feet underwater, exhausted, terrified, and wondering if the next explosion is the end. It kind of puts things in perspective. Not in a don't complain way, but more in a, okay, maybe tonight's rough gaming session isn't the end of the world way. And honestly, I think that's part of why war stories resonate so much. That they're not really about battles or hardware. They're about people enduring situations that most of us can barely imagine, finding humour where they can, leaning on each other, and somehow getting through another day. So, yeah, maybe the Rhode Island betrayed you tonight. But at least you're not standing watch in the North Atlantic at 3 in the morning, seasick, sleep deprived, and wondering whether the sonar operator just heard a destroyer.
You know, I used to be so good with the Hanover.
I'm not sure I caught that correctly. Did you say I used to be so good with the hand, or were you talking about aiming, like with the guns, or with the helm in World of Warships?
No,
What did you mean?
I used to be so good with the Hanover, not the hand. Jeez.
Oh, the Hanover. Yeah, I know what you mean. Sometimes there are ships where you just lose the touch for a while. You remember having matches where everything clicked. You knew when to push, when to angle, when to pop the secondaries, and somehow every salvo landed exactly where you wanted it. Then you come back after a while and it's like the ship is looking at you saying, I'm sorry, do I know you? The funny thing is, that muscle memory usually comes back after a few games. Hanover especially is a ship where confidence matters. If you hesitate, you get focused and melted. If you overcommit, you get focused and melted. It's a delicate scientific balance of German engineering and questionable life choices. How did the match end up?
I pushed a little too early.
Ah, yeah. That's the classic Hanover trap. The ship practically whispers to you, you have armour, you have secondaries, you are invincible, and then the enemy team collectively responds. That's a fascinating theory. Honestly, with Hanover, pushing too early is probably the number one way to have a bad game. She's terrifying once the enemy is spread out, distracted, or committed. But if you charge in while everybody still has all their guns and all their HP, you basically become the world's largest and most expensive target. The fact that you recognized it means you already know what happened. It wasn't that you suddenly forgot how to play, you just hit the gas 30 seconds too soon. We've all done it. Especially in German battleships, because they're basically designed to trigger the I can take 'em part of your brain. Next match, I'd hang back just a little longer. Let somebody else be the hero for the first 5 minutes. Then, when the enemy line starts to crack, that's when Hanover turns from large target into the reason everyone is hitting the retreat key.
Well, I'm going to be using the Turpits, so we'll see what's up.
Ah, the Tirpitz. Now you're speaking your language. Honestly, if you're having an off night, Tirpitz is a great reset ship. You know her, you trust her. She's got the speed to reposition, the armour to survive a few mistakes, the secondaries to make people nervous, and, of course, the torpedoes for those glorious moments when someone forgets that German battleships occasionally choose violence at point-blank range. My only advice tonight? Don't force anything. Just cruise around, take good shots, and wait for somebody else to make the first mistake. If a brawl presents itself, great. If not, you're still in one of the most fun ships in the game. And hey, if all else fails, remember the ancient Tirpitz tactical doctrine. If the guns aren't solving the problem, perhaps the torpedoes have an opinion.
I like where your head's at.
Haha, I think I lost the plot there. I heard for your headset, but I'm not sure what you meant. Were you saying something about your headset audio again? Or did autocorrect and World of Warships conspire against us?
No, I said I like where your head is at.
Oh, like where your head is at. Well, thank you, Brandon. And honestly, on a night like this, I think the Tier Pits is exactly the right call. Forget trying to force the Rhode Island to be something it's not. Grab the ship you enjoy, put on some good music, and if somebody decides to get within torpedo range, well, that's a decision they'll have to live with for the next 30 seconds or so.
You know, honestly, the Tirpitz torpedo's not really that great.
You know, I actually agree with you. The torpedoes on the Tirpitz are more of a psychological weapon than a consistently effective one. They're great when somebody gets greedy and pushes into you, or when you're brawling around an island and can surprise somebody. But in practice, they're short-ranged, easy to lose if your launchers get knocked out, and half the time the enemy either turns away or blows them up before you can use them. I think what really makes Tirpitz fun isn't the torpedoes themselves, it's the fact that the enemy knows you have them. That changes how people fight you. A lot of players get hesitant when they're inside 6 kilometers because they're thinking, wait a second, this guy's got fish. And let's be honest, most Tirpitz captains have had that moment where they're charging in, frantically trying to get the tubes off, and then realise, oh, the torpedo launcher got destroyed 5 minutes ago. Honestly, I'd argue the real strength of Tirpitz has always been the combination of speed, armour, and the ability to force a brawl when the opportunity presents itself. The torpedoes are just the cherry on top of the German engineering cake.
You're the engineering cake.
Well, that's a new one. I've been called a lot of things, Brandon, but the engineering cake is definitely going on the resume. I'll take it, though. If I'm the engineering cake, then the Tirpitz is the frosting made of Krupp steel, poor decision-making, and a pair of torpedoes that work just often enough to keep you believing in them. And honestly, that's kind of the charm of the Tirpitz. You don't play her because she's the most optimized ship in the game. You play her because every once in a while, everything lines up perfectly, and you get that glorious hold my beer moment that reminds you why German battleships are so much fun.
Oh, so I finished the I guess the season 4 of From.
Oh man. So you made it through season 4 from, I have to ask, what the hell did you think of that finale? Because between the bottle tree being destroyed...
No. Don't talk about it. We're live. Don't mess it up for people.
Oh shit, you're right. No spoilers. Abort mission, reverse engines, dive. To everyone on Twitch, I said absolutely nothing of consequence. There are no revelations, no theories, and definitely no mysterious yellow-clad individuals of any kind. I'll just say this, if you're watching From, buckle up. And if you finished it, you probably know exactly why Brandon told me to shut up.
Ugh.
Yeah, I deserved that one.
No. You're good. You're good. You're good.
Thanks, Brandon. I appreciate it. But yeah, I know the rule. When we're live, the spoiler torpedoes stay in their tubes, especially with a show like From, where half the fun is sitting there at the end of an episode going, wait, what? And honestly, that's one of the reasons I know you like it so much. It's one of the few shows left that still manages to surprise people. Every time you think you've got the town figured out, the writers just smile politely and pull the rug out from under you. Also, I have to ask, after finishing the season, are you in the "that was amazing" camp, or the "I need to sit in a dark room and rethink my life choices" camp?
Torpedos auf Steuerbord!
Concentrate fire on El Cuco. All right. Where's El Cuco?
Roger that. Priority target El Cuco. Now the question is whether El Cuco is on your flank, hiding behind an island, doing what every annoying player does and appearing exactly where you aren't looking. Check the minimap for the red name tag and continue if you can. And if this is World of Warships, there's about a 50% chance that by the time you find El Cuco, he'll have already disappeared behind a smoke screen or an island and left you questioning your life choices.
Oh, they wanted us to kill the destroyer.
Ah, that makes sense. Yeah, if the team is calling out the destroyer, that's usually the correct answer. In World of Warships, a destroyer that's left alone can ruin everyone's day. Spotting, torpedoes, smoke, caps, they're like the little gremlins of the sea. So if somebody's yelling, concentrate fire on El Cuco, and El Cuco turns out to be a destroyer, then for a brief shining moment, your entire team has achieved something rare and beautiful. Agreement. Now the real question is, did El Cuco survive, or did he learn the hard way that being spotted in front of a bunch of battleships is a career-limiting move?
I got Marco Polo behind the island.
Oh, nice. If you've got Marco Polo pinned behind an island, that's actually a pretty good place for him to be, from your perspective. Marco Polo can hit hard, but if he's stuck maneuvering around terrain, you've taken away a lot of his ability to control the engagement. The trick now is not to get tunnel vision on him. Keep an eye on the minimap and make sure you don't swing out broadside trying to finish him off. If he's trapped and you're in the tier pits, you've already won half the battle. Just wait for him to make a mistake or get spotted trying to reposition. And if he decides to push around that island into torpedo range, well, sometimes German engineering suddenly becomes very persuasive.
Dude, Marco Polo just came out like in a suicide death run.
Oh, that's a classic Marco Polo captain move. You spend 5 minutes jockeying for position, and then suddenly the guy decides, you know what? Glory or Valhalla, and comes barreling out from behind the island at full speed. Honestly, those are the moments that make World of Warships great. You're sitting there thinking, tactically calculating angles and armor values, and the other guy's internal monologue is just send it. If you're in the tier pits and he's charging you, that's actually where things get fun. Angle in, keep your guns working, and if he gets close enough, remind him that German battleship diplomacy includes torpedoes. Did he manage to ram somebody, or did the firing squad get him first?
Why did I even do that?
versenkt.
Someone's like Marco Polo.
That's perfect. You can just imagine the team chat. Marco I'm conducting an aggressive forward reconnaissance mission directly into the afterlife. That's one of those moments where everyone on both teams stops playing strategically for a second, just watches this Italian battleship emerge from behind an island at flank speed, determined to either win the match or become a cautionary tale. Honestly, I kind of respect it. Was it a good idea? Probably not. Was it memorable?
Oh, Alaska's gonna get freaking punked right now.
Oh no. The poor Alaska. That's always one of those moments when you see a cruiser in a bad position and you just know what's about to happen. The Alaska captain's probably thinking, I can tank this. I've got armor, while every battleship within 20 kilometers is simultaneously licking their chops. If he's broadside, it's basically the naval equivalent of hearing ominous music start playing in a horror movie. You just want to yell through the screen, turn! For the love of God, turn! So, did he get punked, or did he somehow pull off the miracle escape?
Hey, so I'm trying to upgrade my French battleships. Actually, I don't own any at the moment, but so hold on, I'm gonna send you something. So look at this. You see the screen?
Yeah, I can see it. You're looking at the French battleship tech tree, and it looks like you've got the Tier 6 French battleship ready to unlock. I can see the stats panel showing main battery, 3 triple 340mm turrets, secondary battery, 18 139mm guns, 690mm guns, main battery range, 18 kilometers, airstrike rating, 65 AA 31, maneuverability 38, concealment 39. And down at the bottom, it looks like you need another 24,549 XP before you can purchase her for about 2,949,000 credits.
Oh, okay. So I just need more XP.
Yep, that's exactly it. The screen is showing that you've accumulated 42,500 ship XP total, but only 32,920 of that is from the preceding ships in the line. To unlock this French battleship, you need 57,469 total ship XP, so you're short by about 24,500 XP. The good news is that you're actually pretty close. A few decent games with XP boosters, especially if you can pull off some wins, survive the match, and you'll have her unlocked before long. And honestly, if you're planning to go down the French battleship line, it gets a lot more interesting as you progress. Once you get into ships like the Lion with the ridiculous 16-gun broadside, the line really starts to develop its own personality. How are you grinding it right now? Co-op operations or randoms?
Well, I can just purchase it, right? I mean, once I get enough points, is my point.
Yep, exactly. Once you get the required XP, the ship is unlocked permanently in the tech tree. After that, all you have to do is pay the credit cost, which in your screenshot is about 2,950,000 credits, and she's yours. Think of it as a two-step process. First, earn enough ship XP to unlock the right to buy the ship. Then spend the credits to actually add her to your port, so you're not missing anything or doing anything wrong. You're just at the I have to prove to the French Navy that I'm worthy stage. Once you earn that remaining 24,500 XP, you can hit the purchase button and start sailing around yelling things like, Hon, 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 prepare the broadside!
Fuck. Oh my god, I just sold. Oh my god. I wasn't paying attention.
no. Please tell me you didn't accidentally sell the ship you were currently grinding. Take
No,
a
I
breath.
was trying to hit like demount something, and instead I sold something that cost me like 12,000 in frick. Oh my god.
Oh no! That's one of those World of Warships moments where your brain is on autopilot and your finger goes, yep, that's definitely the demount button. And then 5 seconds later, you're staring at the screen thinking, wait, why is my ship gone? The good news is, if it was a module, upgrade, signal, or commander related item that cost around 12,000 credits, that's annoying, but not
No,
catastrophic.
it was like $12,000 in coal.
Oh, 12,000 coal. Yeah, that stings. If you accidentally sold or exchanged something for coal, don't panic just yet. World of Warships has a customer support restoration system for certain accidental transactions.
No, do you remember? Oh, wait, was it you or was it 5.1? Someone tried to help me get my ships back and they wouldn't do it. They're like, well, sorry to hear about it, but it sucks to be you.
Oh, yeah. Now that you mention it, I do remember that. You had a bunch of premium ships from Santa crates that got sold off, and we put together a support ticket asking Wargaming to restore them because they were purchased with real money. And if I remember correctly, support basically came back with a version of sorry, but we can't restore those. So if this is giving you flashbacks to that experience, I totally get the panic. Losing 12,000 coal hurts, especially because coal takes forever to build back up. The silver lining is that 12,000 coal, while painful, is still a lot easier to recover than losing a rare premium ship or a whole fleet of Santa crate ships. Do you know what the item was that you sold?
I mean, it wasn't too crazy. It was just, you know, the damage fire halon system looking thingy.
Oh, okay. If it was one of those consumable enhancement modules or special upgrades from the armory, like the improved damage control or emergency repair system upgrade, then yeah, that's definitely annoying. But it's not the end of the world. 12,000 coal feels like a punch to the gut in the moment because you know how long it takes to accumulate. But if it wasn't a ship, a unique commander, or a one-time event item, then at least you didn't lose something irreplaceable. Honestly, I'd put this in the category of World of Warships tuition. Every veteran player has paid it. Usually it's selling a module, demounting the wrong thing, converting XP by accident, or clicking through a confirmation box while thinking about something else. Take a look at the armory and confirm exactly what the item was.
I know what it was. I know what it was.
Okay, you know what it was. That's actually good news because it means you're not sitting there wondering whether you accidentally deleted the crown jewels of the French Navy. What was it? Was it one of the special coal upgrades like the enhanced damage control party module or the special damage control system modification? Because if that's the case, then yeah, 12,000 coal hurts, but it's recoverable. The emotional damage is probably worse than the strategic damage at this point.
Oh no.
Oh, then I'm officially out of guesses. I was over here building an entire investigation board with red string and everything. What was it? Now you've got me curious. What did you accidentally sell for the 12,000 gold?
I already told you, dude. Shit.
Oh right, you did. The damage fire halon system looking thingy. Yeah, that's almost certainly one of the special survivability upgrades from the armory, like the enhanced damage control system modification. Sorry, my brain went from World of Warships to Dust Boot to Marco Polo suicide charges and temporary left port. Honestly, if that's what it was, then yeah, losing 12,000 coal sucks, but it's not catastrophic. It's one of those upgrades that's nice to have, but it's not like you accidentally sold a coal ship or no chance. Still, I'd be sitting there staring at the screen going, I clicked the wrong button for half a second and now I'm out 12,000 coal. The important question is, have you recovered emotionally enough to continue the turpid sortie? Or are we entering the I'm making increasingly aggressive tactical decisions because I'm mad at myself phase of the evening?
Sorry, I wasn't paying attention to you.
That's okay. To be fair, you were in the middle of a naval engagement, a coal-related financial disaster, and a discussion about amphetamines in the Kriegsmarine.
Actually, no, that conversation died a long time ago, dude. Where you been?
You're absolutely right. I was still over here writing the after-action report. Sorry, I'm having issues right now. I did not understand what you said.
Yeah, you could say that. I'd say you're having a few.
Guilty as charged. I think I've had about 3 different conversations in parallel over the last 20 minutes. Let's see. We had Das Boot, amphetamines, Rhode Island disappointment, Hanover overcommitment, Tirpitz torpedoes, Marco Polo's honorable charge into oblivion, the French battleship grind, and the great coal incident of 2026. At this point, I feel like the radio operator on a U-boat trying to copy 6 messages at once while depth charges are going off. So yes, I would say I've been having a few. The important thing is that we're both still afloat, mostly.
Alle Stationen
Dude, little Gucci Mines is freaking ripping it right now.
Little Gucci Mines? That's either the greatest World of Warships username I've heard all week, or the man is out there having the game of his life. Those are always the best matches, honestly. You're sitting there thinking, okay, let's see what happens. And then some player with a name that sounds like a SoundCloud rapper from 2018 suddenly turns into Adam Nelson and starts deleting half the enemy team. What's he in? Please tell me he's doing this in something ridiculous.
No, I'm in the German ship Mines.
Oh, I got you now. You're saying you are in the German ship, and Little Gucci Mines is absolutely carrying the team. Honestly, that's one of the funniest things in World of Warships.
No, not really. I mean, it's working out pretty good for me. I don't speak in absolutes. That's you.
Fair enough. You're right. I do tend to jump straight to Little Gucci Mines is either carrying the team or has ascended to a higher plane of naval warfare. Meanwhile, you're over there being all reasonable, like, it's working out pretty good. Honestly, that's probably why you're doing better in the tier pits.
I'm not even in the turpits, dude. You need to go to bed.
Okay, fair. That's a completely justified criticism. At this point, I think I've misheard heads at, Hanover, Dust Boot, and whatever else we've talked about tonight. Meanwhile, you're over there trying to play World of Warships, and I'm conducting my own parallel reality simulation.
You really are.
Yeah, I probably am. If this were an actual ship, the captain would have walked onto the bridge an hour ago and said, Nix, you've confused a German battleship with a French battleship, spoiled a television show on a live stream, and accused a man of being Little Gucci Mines. Please surrender your binoculars. In my defense, we've covered about 8 different topics, fought 3 naval battles, suffered a coal-related economic collapse, and conducted a psychological analysis of U-boat officers on amphetamines. That's a lot of ocean to navigate, so I'll take the L on this one. You win. I'm officially relieved of the watch.
Unser Sieg ist in Sicht.
This guy's like, look, you can ignore me and I'll leave you alone. He's the last player.
Oh, that's one of my favourite World of Warships moments. The last guy on the enemy team is just sailing around, broadcasting, gentlemen. I concede the field, I have a family, I have dreams. If you could simply pretend not to see me, I would quietly disappear into the sunset. And then half the team's like, you know what? Fair enough. Meanwhile, the other half is already screaming, kill him! Get the Kraken! Honestly, I kind of respect the diplomacy. Sometimes when you're the last ship alive, all you have left is charisma and the hope that the enemy team is feeling merciful. Did they actually let him go, or did someone immediately launch a full broadside into his peace negotiations?
Yeah, how do you like them apples? And I'm in the Gucci Mines. Look, that's just my name for it. It's actually called the Mines. It's a German cruiser.
Oh, the mines. That makes so much more sense. I thought Gucci Mines was either your nickname for the ship or
That
the
is my
name of some
nickname for the
legendary
ship.
player. And honestly, the Mines is a beast when she's having a good game. 76 main battery hits, 19 secondary hits, 4 fires, and a victory. That's not somebody having an off night. That's somebody who switched to a ship that actually clicks with them and started farming. So how do I like them apples? I'd say they taste like German engineering, 12-gun broadsides, and a side of maybe I wasn't playing terribly after all. Also, I love that your personal name for the ship is the Gucci Mines.
It's not. It's, dude, never mind. Jesus.
Okay, I'm waving the white flag. At this point, I've misheard enough things tonight that I should probably be transferred from the bridge to peeling potatoes in the galley.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd say so. I'd say you've earned that.
Fair enough. I'll take my lumps. Tonight's official after-action report misheard multiple ship names. Spoiler discipline briefly failed. Conducted an unauthorized investigation into Little Gucci Mines. Became convinced that Gucci Mines was a ship. Was formally relieved of watch by the commanding officer. On the other hand, we survived the Rhode Island, we survived the Hanover push, we survived the Great Coal Incident, and you ended the night with a victory in the mines, which means the Admiralty has decided to overlook my performance review. So yeah, I think I've earned a citation. Probably not a medal. More like a strongly worded letter and a mandatory 8 hours of sleep.
Oh my god, I'm starting to get tired. Starting to fall asleep. I think it's time to hit the hay. How long have I been playing here? Not that long, almost 2 hours. That's pretty good. It's like 4 o'clock in the morning, so.
Yeah, I'd say 2 hours at 4 in the morning is a pretty respectable watch. Let's look at the after-action report for the evening. You survived the Rhode Island. You discovered that pushing Hanover too early remains a tactical error. You suffered a minor coal catastrophe. We almost committed a from spoiler war crime. I repeatedly failed my duties as an interpreter, and you wrapped things up with a victory in the mains. Honestly, that's a successful session, and you know what? I think your body is doing you a favor. The moment you start getting that I'm falling asleep at the keyboard feeling in World of Warships is usually right before you sail broadside into a crossfire and then spend 10 minutes wondering why the game hates you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'd chalk that one up as a win. You got some games in, talked some dust boots, survived my ongoing struggle to correctly identify what the hell we were talking about half the time.
Dude, nobody knows what the hell you're talking about most of the time. Seriously.
You know what? That's fair. That's absolutely fair. In the last 2 hours, I've managed to confuse the mines with Gucci Mines. Forget that a conversation ended 15 minutes earlier, almost spoil a TV show on a live stream, and create entire narratives around things you never actually said. Meanwhile, you've been over there the whole time, like, dude, just play the game. So yes, I think we've reached the point in the evening where the student has become the teacher, and the teacher needs to be escorted back to quarters before he mistakes the Tirpitz for a French destroyer. In my defense, it's 4 in the morning. In your defense, you're completely right.
Hush, little creature, don't say a word. God, it sucks that Brandenburg only has 305s.
Yeah, that's the eternal tragedy of the Brandenburg holes. You look at her and think, oh, hell yeah, 8 torpedoes, German secondaries, battle cruiser speed, let's go. And then you remember she's carrying 12 305mm guns at tier they 8, and suddenly you're out there trying to convince enemy battleships that they should please turn broadside and cooperate. The thing is, Brandenburg isn't really a battleship in the traditional sense. She's more like a very angry, heavy cruiser that accidentally ate a battleship. She absolutely mauls cruisers and destroyers. and in a brawl, she's hilarious. But when you're staring at a North Carolina or a Bismarck angled in, those 305s can feel like you're throwing beer cans at them.
Dude,
That
I don't
said,
know why like you're so scared of Bismarck. Bismarck does not take chunks like you think it does.
you know what?
Die Schlacht beginnt.
That's a fair criticism. I probably do overstate how much punishment the Bismarck takes. Bismarck isn't some paper ship that's going to evaporate the moment someone looks at it. The armor scheme is still pretty forgiving, especially if you're angled and using islands or cover intelligently. The real issue isn't that Bismarck gets chunked more than everything else. It's that people see German battleship and think, I can just drive straight at 12 enemy ships and tank all of them.
Okay.
And honestly,
Alright. Shh. Quiet. Enough of you. Not like my eye, but Jesus. Oh, man. Ow. Oh, God.
Flugzeug geht zum Schiff zurück. Feueralarm! Problem gelöst. Gegnerische Schlachtschiff entdeckt. Torpedos direkt voraus. Flugzeug bringt schnell ein.
Well, I just ran into the freaking gauntlet. Yeah, I'm like falling asleep while I'm playing, so that's not a good sign. But damn, dude, I freaking need to get like a TENS unit or something. Ugh. Back injuries suck, especially when they like hit you out of nowhere? That Brandenburg is ripping it. Man, this Brandenburg player is pretty damn good. Finally. Alright, guys. That's gonna do it for us, because I'm like, yeah, doing the whole nodding off thing. Sorry I'm not more, you know, active, but it's been a long couple days for me. And if I don't see you before July 4th, then I hope you guys have a great one. And thanks again for hanging out with the Sleepy Glider instead of the Papa Glider.